The sound of wrench against metal echoed through the Navy ship's maintenance bay as the sun began to sink over the Pacific horizon. The clangs were steady, rhythmic, almost soothing, coming from a woman working alone at the far end of the hangar. Grease stained her hands, her hair was tied back in a no-nonsense knot, and her jumpsuit hung loosely over a frame that looked wiry but strong. To anyone passing by, she was just another mechanic, another nameless worker in the ship's belly keeping things running. No one would have guessed the truth buried behind those quiet eyes. Petty Officer Daniel Rains, a sharp-tongued pilot with too much confidence for his own good, had noticed her weeks ago. She worked quietly, never spoke unless spoken to, and never joined the crew for meals or laughter. The men joked that she was probably running from something, maybe an ex, maybe her past. Rains just saw her as another ghost on the ship, invisible until something broke. He didn't know her name for sure, just the label on her suit, A. Lawson. One afternoon, a critical failure hit during flight operations. A hydraulic leak threatened the launch of a returning aircraft and chaos erupted. Mechanics scrambled, shouting orders, but Lawson was already there, calm, precise, and unshaken. She slid beneath the jet, eyes steady, movements deliberate as she rerouted pressure lines and sealed the damage with a speed that seemed trained. Within minutes, the aircraft was cleared, saving not just a mission but the pilot's life. No one said much, just a few pats on the back, but Rains watched her differently that day. There was something in her stillness, something he'd only ever seen in people who'd been in fire. That night, he passed her by in the corridor, and for the first time, he noticed the small set of dog tags tucked beneath her uniform. One tag glinted faintly under the corridor light, and then he saw it. The insignia, a small gold trident engraved on the edge. He froze. The SEAL Trident. Rains's first thought was disbelief. A mechanic? A woman? A SEAL? It didn't fit. He convinced himself he'd imagined it. But the next day, when the Admiral himself came aboard for inspection, everything changed. The Admiral, grizzled, respected, and not one to waste time, was moving through the hangar with his entourage when his eyes caught Lawson. He stopped mid-step. For a heartbeat, the entire room seemed to still. Then slowly, the Admiral walked toward her. The officers trailing him exchanged confused glances. Lawson straightened, saluting with mechanical precision. But there was a flicker in her eyes, something between discomfort and defiance. "Petty Officer Lawson," the Admiral said, his tone unreadable. "You've been off the radar a long time." No one breathed. Rains looked from one to the other, realizing something massive was unfolding. The Admiral's gaze fell to her chest, to those faintly gleaming dog tags. The SEAL Trident was unmistakable now. Gasps rippled through the mechanics. Lawson didn't speak. She just stood there, eyes locked on the Admiral's, as if bracing for a storm she'd long known would come. The Admiral nodded slowly, a faint shadow of recognition softening his features. "You did good work today." Reminded me of someone who used to pull miracles like that in the Gulf. His voice dropped. "Welcome back, Chief." Rains's jaw slackened. Chief, not petty officer. And that's when it hit him. She wasn't just a mechanic. She was one of them. A Navy SEAL. In the days that followed, whispers spread through the ship like wildfire. Everyone had theories, some respectful, some not. But no one knew the full story. Until one evening, during a rare quiet moment, Rains found her sitting alone on the deck, staring out at the fading light. He hesitated, then sat beside her. She didn't look up. For a long while, neither spoke. Then she said, almost to herself, "It's easier fixing machines than people. Machines don't scream in your dreams." Rains didn't know how to respond. The words carried a weight that sank deep into the silence. Slowly, she told him the truth. Not everything, but enough. She had been the first female SEAL to complete training without fanfare, under a veil of anonymity, because the Navy hadn't known how to deal with her success. They deployed her on covert missions, never recording her name, never acknowledging her victories. She saved lives that would never know her, buried comrades who never got flags, and when the final mission went wrong, when half her team didn't make it out, she walked away. She couldn't bear the ghosts anymore, so she disappeared. Changed her file. Took a mechanic's post under an alias. For years, she thought she could live quietly in the hum of engines and metal. But fate, it seemed, never forgets those who serve. The Admiral's visit had shaken everything loose. Within a week, official messages started arriving. Commendations, invitations, words like reinstatement and recognition. She ignored them all. Until one night a letter came, handwritten, sealed with the Admiral's insignia. It wasn't an order. It was a plea. It read, "You taught us what strength looks like. Don't let the world forget that." The next morning she stood before the ship's crew in full uniform. The SEAL Trident gleamed openly now. The room was silent, not out of disbelief but reverence. The Admiral pinned a citation to her chest, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. "Some heroes don't need parades. But today, Chief Lawson, you get one anyway." The applause was hesitant at first, then thunderous. Even the hardened pilots and gruff deckhands felt their throats tighten. For Rains, it was more than admiration, it was a lesson. A reminder that real warriors don't boast. They endure. They rise quietly again and again, until the world finally sees what they were all along. After the ceremony, Lawson returned to her post, sleeves rolled up, working again as though nothing had changed. When asked why she didn't just retire, she smiled faintly and said, "Because there's always another engine to fix. Always another mission." And in that moment, everyone realized that true strength isn't about medals or recognition. It's about purpose. It's about fighting battles no one sees, and still finding the courage to live, to help, to serve. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Legends of History. Your support helps us keep telling the stories of unsung heroes who remind us that greatness often hides in silence. Special request to comment. Tell us in the comments below, what does real heroism mean to you? We'd love to read your thoughts.